Hola, mis amores. Hello, my lovelies. It's been a while and I've missed you, so I'm glad to be back. And I'm back with a tale that I love. It's called Caps for Sale. Here are all the caps, the hats, all stacked up nice and neat. And this story is by Esther Slobodkina, which is a beautiful name, and he's the author and the illustrator. So he did the words and the pictures. And this is a tale of a peddler, somebody who sells things, some monkeys, and some monkey business. And there's one thing I'd like you to know about monkeys before we begin this book, is that they're sometimes known to imitate, to copy what other people do. Let's find out how that works in this story. Once there was a peddler who sold caps, but he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. There he goes. Look at that friendly sunshine. First, he had on his own checkered cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight so as not to upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." That seems affordable. One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and he walked down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." You can tell this book was written a long time ago because 50 cents a cap is very, very cheap. But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody wanted even a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said, and he walked out of town. Slowly, slowly, so as not to upset his caps. If he upset his caps, if they messed up, they would just fall down. He walked for a long time until he came to a great, big tree. "That's a nice place for a rest," thought he. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put his hand to feel if they were straight. First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very top. They were all there. So he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. The sun went up and up. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. All he felt was his own checkered cap. He looked to the right of him. He looked to the left of him. No caps. He looked in back of him. No caps. He looked behind the tree. No caps. Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? Think about it. Remember what this is a story about. Do you have any guesses? On every branch sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or a brown or a blue or a red cap. Look at all those monkeys. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tsit, tsit, 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 tsit." This made the peddler angry. So he shook both hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their hands back at him and said, "Tsit, tsit, 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 tsit." Whew. Now he felt very angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tsit, tsit, 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 tsit." Whew. By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. He stamped both of his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped both their feet back at him and said, "Tsit, tsit, 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 tsit." Ooh. At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap, he threw it on the ground, and he began to walk away. But then each monkey pulled off his cap. And all the gray caps, and all the brown caps, and all the blue caps, and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up his cap and put them back on his head. First his own checkered cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and then the red caps on the very top. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." What did you think about this book, Caps for Sale, about the monkeys who couldn't stop copying the very angry peddler? It's a funny story. The main character was the peddler, the man who was selling the caps. And then the only other characters were all these monkeys who happened to steal his caps while he was sleeping and keep it up there. They must have thought it was so funny when he was yelling at them, first with one finger, then 2 fists, then 1 foot, then 2 feet. And they must have thought it was so funny they copied him, which only made him angrier. And then when he took his cap off, they all followed him, and they all threw their caps off. And then he was able to get his caps back without resorting to anger. What a silly story. I hope you liked it, and I hope you like thinking about monkeys copying you. How silly is that? Well, just so you know, I love you, I miss you, and I'll be back for more. Mwah, mwah, mwah.